welcome to this episode of Joy's World, the podcast. Today I have another very special guest with me. She is a friend of mine and I think she's really interesting. So I thought I'd get her on for a chat. Jess, welcome.
Hey Joy. Hey everyone. Thanks for having me on the podcast today.
No problem. I just felt like we had a chat a few weeks ago, didn't we, about what you're studying, and I was asking you bare questions because I'm a bit dumb in it. I didn't go uni, so I was just like, oh, this would be really good to talk about on the podcast, because I feel like, you know, as visually impaired people here, people love to underestimate us, and so I really wanted you to come on and kind of talk about what you're doing, but we'll get into that. My first question to everyone that comes on the podcast is, how are you feeling? Like, how actually are you, Jess?
Do you know what, I'm just feeling bloated because of all this lockdown weight, and I need to shift this weight before the 21st of June. I'm quite stressed out with assignments and things right now, coursework and exam revision. So it's quite a stressful period, but I'm trying to also remember to remain positive and stay happy and do things that, you know, make me happy or that just bring my mood and my spirits up. As well as remaining focused. So you just have to try and strike that right balance, but it's not always easy, but you got to do what you got to do. It's not going to last. So
yeah, definitely. And so obviously I know you, but my listeners don't. So can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Black, blind, female.
We can't say female anymore.
Oh, woman species? What do people say now?
We say woman.
What do people say? What's the...
Is it offensive? Is it like female's offensive, isn't it? That's what I've heard.
I'm I don't know about these politically correct terms, which I really should educate myself.
You really should. I mean, considering what you're studying,
get myself in trouble. Exactly. So if we don't say female, what do I say? Young lady? But then that
woman.
makes
no, you can say woman, but you just can't.
Then that sounds female, rude.
But female, isn't it like what do they say? It's like an animal or something. Or no, did I make that up? No, it's like something like it's an animal, or it means something about that we just... I don't know. Don't ask me. Anyway, she's a woman, guys. She's not a female. Relax. Everybody relax. No, because people will come for us. Don't. You are a woman, not female.
Listen, whatever the politically correct word for it is, that's what I am.
That's what she is. Yeah. Okay, fine. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. So, as I said, my listeners, they don't know who you are, you know, they haven't had the privilege of getting to know you. So tell us about yourself, tell us how old you are, tell us what you're studying, and tell us a bit about your eye condition.
Cool. So hi everyone. Once again, thank you for having me and listening to me drone on today, because I know sometimes I can ramble. So my name's Jess. I am in my 23rd year of living, and
I'm dead.
And I suffer from an eye condition called, well, apparently a lot of people don't like the word suffer, but since I'm talking about myself, I'm not going to be politically correct, because if I come across as offensive, I'm only talking about me. Cool. Mm-hmm. So I suffer from an eye condition called bilateral microphthalmia. So it affects both of my eyes, and it's basically, it's quite complex to explain, but it involves smaller eyes, like your eyes haven't basically developed in the womb or from birth or from an early stage in your life, basically. And my retina cords are also detached, so that causes complete blindness. I like to use the analogy of a phone and a charger. So if you plug one end of your charger into the mains and you plug the other end into your phone, normally what you would expect to happen is for the electricity to pass through the wire from the mains and into your phone, right? But if the charger looks good externally, but inside the metal, like the internal metal rods are broken or detached or deformed in some way or another, the power from the mains is not going to pass through the wire into your phone. So that would, lead to your phone not actually charging, and ultimately your phone will be dead.
So your iPhone's not charged.
Let
me buy you charger from Amazon now. They will charge, don't worry.
It's just the analogy. So the retina cord being the charger, because the retina cord is what connects your eyes to your brain, and what transmits the signals that your eyes see to your brain, so you can actually recognize what you see. But if that cord is disconnected or is defective, obviously you're not going to get any of the information transmitted to your brain. So
and have you had this since birth, Jess? Did it develop over time?
No, yeah, I've pretty much been blind from, I think, about 5-6 months old. So it's all I remember. Yeah, so it didn't develop over time, and it was a lot easier for me to adapt to, obviously, if you've never had sight loss, you can never crave what you haven't had. So yeah. I don't know what sight is, and I've been able to adapt my life without sight. So I read Braille, I use a long white cane. I'm considering getting a guide dog, but I'm scared of dogs, so I don't know how that's supposed to work.
I don't know how that's going to work, darling. But you know what? I used to be scared of dogs as well, but when I saw like how well the guy, because I had friends who had guide dogs, and when I saw how well behaved they were, it really eased my fear. And even now, I'm more scared of like just random pet dogs than I am of guide dogs. Guide dogs, I can 100% be around. I'll stroke them. I'm fine. I'm cool. Because obviously I used to have one. But yeah, normal like pet dogs, no, me that they'll come and bite you. Nah, I ain't got time for that. Okay, so I mean, you said you don't remember when you was like 5-6 months old. Why not? Doesn't everybody remember when they was 5-6 months old? Come on, guys.
Funnily enough, I was reading a book last week. That's basically all I do with my life: read and eat and sleep. Anyways, I was reading this book. It was talking about this condition called HSAM. It stands for hyper superior autobiographical memory, if I remember correctly. And it's people who remember everything, every single memory, every single day of their life from the day they were born.
Oh no, who would want that? Would you actually want that?
No,
that sounds terrible to me, because there's some things I need to forget.
Exactly. So they remember when they tried to talk and tried to walk, and when they were crying in their cot. So apparently there's only 80 people in the world that suffer from the condition or the ability. I don't know whether it's but
also, how do we know that they're telling the truth?
Because it's been tested.
No one else would remember. So they could say, on this day in 1994, I did X, Y, and Z. Who's going to come and challenge them?
You know what, though? They did quite a few tests, and one of them was quite legit. So one of the girls said when she was 3 months old, she remembers sitting around the dinner table and her nan was having a discussion about something and she was just swearing. And
at 3 months old?
3 months old.
Nah, so chatting shit.
She related this when she was 16, and then at the time her nan had died already, and the mum was like, oh, I remember that conversation. How do you know? I've never related that to you, blah, 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 blah. And they can also, you can literally give them any date in the past, like, I don't know, 22nd of December 2002, and they can tell you, that they fell on a Saturday, literally instantly.
Yeah, I don't believe this shit. Sorry, I don't believe. No, the 3-month-old thing, because at 3 months old, you don't even understand. So how could she relay something that she did? Because you can't even speak.
Exactly.
At 3 months old, can you even sit up? They can't even sit up.
Exactly.
So how can you tell me you remember that conversation? It's lying, bruv. This girl's a liar. Compulsive
I always, I've said to myself ever since that I'm going to look into it once I finish my course, just to have more knowledge about it, because it sounds too real to be believed, if you know what I mean. I mean, it sounds too fake to be believed.
I feel like I can even get someone saying they remember stuff from you know, the age of, I don't know, 5. But at 3 months old, you're not remembering local, because you don't even understand so even if she heard the conversation, she's a baby, she wouldn't have even understood what they was talking about. So how could she have remembered? Exactly. Do you get me? Does that mean you can't even eat? Like, they can't even feed themselves at 3 months. What are you doing? Anyway, let's move on, because I don't know about that. Right. So as we mentioned, you're studying. Tell the people what you're studying, where you're studying, and why you're studying it.
Cool. So I am what am I studying again? Oh, yeah, so
if you don't know, then
I'm studying the bar professional training course, which is also abbreviated as the BPTC, and this is a course you study in order to qualify as a barrister. So it's quite interesting. Previously, for my undergrad, for my bachelor's, I studied law, and I did my master's in law also, and I intend to become a barrister. I was supposed to start a PhD in January, but I'll be starting it now in September. Obviously, COVID came and messed everything up, but you know. And I plan to do my PhD in almost a social science field, but I'm looking at the colour of law, or the colour of justice, and the disparity or the polarity of Black people within the legal sector. So, you know, why are there more criminals? Why are there more Black criminals? And, you know, not enough Black lawyers and judges and Black policemen. So there's not enough Black people within law enforcement yet. Although we only make up approximately 3% of the UK population, we make up a lot more of the percentage in prison. So it just doesn't add up. So we're looking at I'll be looking at the different racial elements, or the different media stereotypes, and yeah, all these different things. I'll be spending a lot more time in prison, which I already do, which is really fun. I'll be spending a lot more time.
People don't describe prison as fun, darlings.
Yeah, when you're not, when you know you're gonna leave in 2 hours, then it's fun.
I wonder if there's anyone in prison listening to this now. I mean, shout out to you if you're in prison. You know, shout out to you. That's all good. Hello, inmates. Hi.
I'll send them your love.
Okay. Wait, do they get like internet in prison? They do, innit? They do, because people date online.
Yeah.
But I've heard people order from Argos in prison.
Typical.
Is that a lie? Is that a full lie?
Well,
allegedly.
People get their ways. People find ways to do things. And because I am strictly under my client's confidentiality, I can't even confirm or deny.
That means yes. Okay, fine. So people ordering from Argos. Other shops are available, inmates. Just saying. I mean, also, can I just say, if you're listening to this and you're actually in prison, I don't know why you would be listening to this in prison, but if you are, could you, like, you know, circulate it, like tell everyone about Joy's World podcast in prisons? Thank you very much. Okay, Jess. So what made you want to become a barrister? Like, where did this come from? What did little young Jess always want to do this, or was it something you decided when you was a bit older? Let
me tell you something that's weird, right? So cool. African parents have, well, this is what I initially thought, right? That my parents wanted me to be a lawyer, because apparently my sister was supposed to be a doctor. And yeah, she's on her way to doing that. Well, she's a nurse actually, but no, she's an occupational therapist actually. So I mean, I thought, it was just, I had to live by the script and be a lawyer. But throughout my school years, I wanted to be a musician. Back in year 6, I wanted to be a singer. And then from like year 7 to year 9, I wanted to be like an author, because I used to write a lot of novels and poems and whatnot. I still do write a lot of poems when I have the time, but I haven't written a novel in time. And when I was in, like, from GCSE stages, I wanted to be like a sociologist and go and conduct research and whatnot. And then when I got to year 12, as my parents would put it, I came to my senses. But there's nothing wrong with any of those subjects, and I still would love to have pursued music. And I'm slightly pursuing sociology anyway, because my PhD is based on the social science, is based within the social science study field. So from year 12 upwards, I kind of set my mind to, being a lawyer. But in year 12, I went to this private eye hospital. And I went to see a doctor who treated me back when I was 3. And I haven't seen her between the age of 3 to 17. And she said, the first thing she said to me is, "Oh, Jess, I remember you. You were the first 3-year-old that told me you want to be a lawyer." I'm like, wait, what? So it sounds really cliche to say that, I've always wanted to be a lawyer from young. But according to a really random stranger, according to me, because I don't remember anyone from when I was 3, apparently that's what I wanted to be. So I guess it was always in me. But I just strayed from it for a while. But I came back to my natural calling, apparently. So then once I decided in year 12 that I want to be a lawyer, it was figuring out what type of lawyer I want to be, because in the UK there's quite a few different categories. So you can be a solicitor, you can be a barrister, or you can be a judge, and there's different types of judges, but we won't go into that. You can't study to become a judge. You have to work your way up and be nominated and that kind of stuff.
Can you explain the difference between solicitor and barrister for people that might not know?
So visually, barristers, well, not all of them, but the ones that work in the Crown Court have to wear the gown and wigs. Magistrate courts, barristers can rock up in suits and stuff. But the difference between a barrister and a solicitor, if you have a problem, your first port of call will be a solicitor. And, you will explain your legal problem to the solicitor, and sometimes they can sort it out themselves. They can help you write a legal letter, or whatever the case may be. They can do what they've got to do to sort out the problem. However, if the problem is quite complex, or it has to go to court, that's when the solicitor writes up your case and puts it in a brief and sends it to a barrister. So contacts a barrister and gives the barrister all your case papers, and the barrister will read over your case papers and then meet with you in court, speak to you a few minutes before the hearing or the trial, and then your barrister will be the lawyer actually standing up and representing you in court. That's the difference between a solicitor and a barrister. You can almost use the analogy of a GP. So when you have a problem, you'd go and see a GP. And sometimes the GP will say, okay, I'm going to prescribe you with X medication. And then, or, take that for 28 days, or I'm going to prescribe you with some,
antibiotics.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to prescribe you some antibiotics. Take it for 2 weeks and you'll be better. Or I'll write you a fit note and then, submit into work and you'll be fine. However, if a situation is more complex, what the GPs do is refer you. So if you have a psychological problem, they'll refer you to a therapist or a mental health specialist, or if you have a disease or something more complex going on, they'll refer you to a doctor. If you're a woman, they might refer you to a gynecologist, depending on your issue. So that's the same with a solicitor. So they'll hear your case, the solicitor's the GP, and they'll hear your case, and then they might refer you to a criminal lawyer, a criminal barrister, sorry, or they might refer you to a commercial barrister, a family law barrister, or immigration law barrister. So it just depends on your situation. So sometimes a solicitor can deal with it, and sometimes they pass you on. So solicitor, GP, barristers, I don't know, doctors, surgeons, gynecologists and whatnot.
Right. And so Jess, so do solicitors, they never represent people in court? Is that a difference as well, or no?
They in very rare circumstances they can, but not in big cases. It has to be very petty cases. In my experience as a student barrister and shadowing and whatnot, I've never seen it happen.
Okay.
And it never really happens in the Crown Court. It can happen sometimes in the Magistrate Court, but it's very, very rare again. And it's normally not in criminal cases, it's more civil cases. Like, for example, immigration bail hearings and things like that.
Okay, and can I ask, so let's talk money, yeah? Because I've heard lawyers are expensive. So how much is it roughly? I mean, I know it's hard, it's probably going to be hard to say, because can we think of a random imaginary case, yeah? How much is it for a solicitor? And then I'm guessing it's obviously extra for a barrister, and I'm feeling like it's going to be a lot more for a barrister. And talk us through that. How do you guys bring up your prices,
Well, so there is a misconception that solicitors are not well paid, but if you're a well-experienced solicitor and you're from a really big law firm, like they call them the Magic Circle law firms, they're basically most of the city commercial kind of law firms, the pay is really nice. The pay is really, really nice. But there are differences. So, for example, people who can afford to pay a solicitor or a barrister privately, their prices are normally higher. However, people who have not got the financial means to do so are entitled to legal aid, and legal aid is where the government pays the lawyers for you, be it a solicitor or a barrister.
But roughly, give me a rough estimation. I want to know the moolah. How much? I need to know in case I get into trouble. How much am I looking at?
Mates rates, isn't it? No, I'm joking.
We'll come on to that later. Don't worry.
What's it called? So it's really hard to pinpoint a figure, because sometimes you're paid by the hour. I think some barristers charge every 6 minutes, like it's like £80 or £100.
You're having a laugh.
Some chambers do that, but it's not all the same. It's the thing. So, for example, criminal cases pay considerably less than a big corporate case. Okay. It's
all
really,
right, we'll just
really
allow
hard.
The money bit. It's fine. I know I'm getting it for free because I've got you in it. So when you qualify fully, I'm saving your number. I mean, I've got your number anyway, but do you know what I mean? I'm there. You're there, yeah? Also, that's another question. Do you have to go through a solicitor? So say I did actually, I mean, guys, I'm not criminal, I'm just saying, yeah. But say I was to do something in the future, possibly. Do you have to get a solicitor first before you get a barrister, or could I just come straight to a barrister?
No, you can come straight to a barrister.
There we go. That's what I'm gonna do, guys. Thank you. Cheers. Okay, that's interesting. And why did you want to be a barrister and not a solicitor?
More pay.
More pay.
No. That's not strictly the only reason.
That's what you said. That's what you meant.
That's not. Well, that was quite enticing, I can't lie. But there are some advantages of being a barrister. So you can be a self-employed barrister where you basically work on your own schedule. Obviously, if you have a case, then you can't just decide not to show up. But otherwise, your schedule can be quite flexible. And also, solicitors have to deal so much with paperwork. Yes, you have that one-to-one client interaction, which can be really nice, but then you're also drafting a lot of documents and preparing particulars of claims or defense, and it's just so much paperwork. And we have to do it as part of the course, as part of the barrister course, to know, the type of briefs we'll be receiving. But it is stress. And imagine, so you work 9 to 5 as a solicitor, and at 4:50 a client comes in and tells you about a case that's happening tomorrow. You have to sit there out of work hours to prepare this case that's happening at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then you have to send it off to a barrister. So you could be home at you could finish work at 8 or 9 because you received a case late, and you need to make sure that you've instructed a barrister before you left, and you've prepared the case so that the barrister can review it. So all of that is long. As a barrister, I'm not saying there's not a lot of paperwork, because we have to read through all the paperwork that the solicitors have prepared, and then we have to prepare our argument. And we have to speak to the client. But I personally feel like that's more of, I won't say it's easier, because they're both skills in their own rights. But for me personally, it's easier for me to read through the papers and to prepare the argument. And then all I have to do really is, when I get into court, I just speak my way, or speak my client's way out of prison. Or, well, prison's not the only kind of sentence that you can get, but speak my client's no guilty, not guilty.
Yeah. Something we spoke about when we had this conversation on the phone a few weeks ago, and I was talking to you about Coronation Street, and that whole case with Jess and Yasmin, and just kind of just for the people that don't know or don't watch Coronation Street, it was like a coercive control storyline, and they obviously it went to court, and obviously he had a barrister, whatever, and she had a barrister, but and obviously, guys, I don't know shit. So this, when I see things on TV about, lawyers and things like that, that's the only kind of knowledge I get, because obviously I don't know, I'm not involved. So my question is how do you, because obviously I was watching it, I was like, his barrister, yeah, we can tell this man is guilty, yeah. But the barrister is there trying to defend this man. Obviously, that's their job, to defend him, and kind of, make it they kind of twist it on her, she did this, she did that. And what I was asking you before was, morally, how does that work for you, defending someone that because obviously, I feel like some cases that they're guilty, but it's your job to defend them and make out like they're not. How does that sit with you? How can you stand up in court and know that this isn't a minor, you defending this person? I know that they've paid you, and I know it's your job, but you defending this, you could put a pedo back on the streets, or you could get put a killer back on the streets. How does that work? I really I'm curious about that. How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I must begin by saying that I don't watch Coronation Street, so I'm not too familiar with the ins and outs of this case.
Yeah.
However, one thing that people need to be wary of is when they see barristers or portrayals of lawyers in TV shows, it's not always accurate. I'm not sure about Coronation Street, but certainly with things like I don't know, Suits and How to Get Away with Murder and Daredevil and things. Firstly, American law and UK law, or England and Wales law, incompatible. Basically, they're not the same.
Yeah.
They have a lot of comparisons, a lot of similarities, but they're not the same. But back to your point, a barrister is a client's mouthpiece. So we have ethical standards that we need to abide by. And one of our core duties is to have our client's best interest. Now, in a court setting, in a Crown Court setting, you have the jury. And at the end of the day, it's the jury who decides whether your client is guilty or not guilty. And it's your judge who decides your client's sentence. Now, the law says that everyone has the right to justice and everyone has the right to be represented legally. And remember, you're innocent until proven guilty, not until believed guilty, until proven guilty. So now, since everyone has the right to justice and the right to legal representation, I am literally just being my client's mouthpiece, since they do not have the legal knowledge to be able to adequately represent themselves. Whether I believe they're guilty or not isn't the main concern of the case. It's not my belief. That's why the jury are there in Crown Court cases, and in magistrate court cases. That's why you have the district judge or the lay bench to come to that conclusion. So where does my opinion factor in here? It doesn't.
So you're saying like it's not your decision. You're just there to help this, like the client with their case and be their mouthpiece.
Yeah.
I get that. But when you clock off at whatever time of the evening, or the day, whatever, you go home and you take off that wig and that gown or whatever, you still go home, and it would it not be on your mind, like on your subconscious? Would you not be thinking about it? Because I feel like for me, maybe I'm just too simple, I don't know, but this is why I know I couldn't do anything like that, because I feel like even if I've had a part to play in it, I would feel some kind of way when I go home. Do you know what I mean? I understand, everyone could put on a show, we could put on a front, but when you go home and you have to think about it, boy, how's your day been today? Oh, well, I represented Billy Bob and Billy Bob was, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking about. When you go home, how do you distract yourself? How do you kind of separate work from home and morals?
Cool. So I think it's quite hard with immigration, family and criminal cases, because you have that one-to-one interaction with your client, and you can sometimes become very emotionally attached and emotionally attached to your client and emotionally invested in the case. And that was one thing that I struggled with when I started studying law at uni. I was like, well, how am I going to detach myself from the client's case and not feel any type of way? But at the end of the day, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to provide a service, and I need to provide the service to my client. That's what I'm paid for. I didn't decide whether they were guilty or not. If I believed my client was guilty and they were found not guilty, that means they were not proven guilty, and it also means that I did a good job. So okay,
stop it.
a potential I don't know, P-Day can be let back into the streets, but I did my job. I had to represent my client to the best of my ability, and that's what I did. And the barrister believed my representation, and I was able to make the other side's evidence look weak, and voila, that's it.
But I think, but that's the thing. I feel like that is so I don't know, like that's scary. That's really,
it is scary.
That's super scary to me, because obviously it's putting everybody at risk. Like if that happens, it could be a paedophile, it could be someone who's like a domestic abuser. Like there's so many, you know, bad people out there. And so yes, it means you've done a good job, but it also means you've done a good job, but this terrible person is literally going back on the streets. That's what's scary, and that could affect all of us. That could affect our children, that could affect us, like that could affect everybody. And so that's why I feel like it must be a very, like, it's a challenging thing, isn't it? Like that's a very, and I know that you're saying like it's not your sole decision, you just have to be their mouthpiece and represent them. I totally
my
get
sole
that.
decision is not any of my decision at all. So you're telling me if you're telling me if I believe a client is guilty, I should not give them adequate representation? That won't be great.
No, I'm not saying you should do that. What I'm saying is I'm asking you, because this is what I mean. From the outside looking in, I don't know about the criminal justice system. Yeah, that's why I'm asking you, because for me, I couldn't do that. Like I wouldn't even want, do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't even want a part to play in it. Like how could I like know that I helped get somebody who clearly was guilty back out on the streets? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
do you know what I mean? And that's why I guess it's not for everybody.
Definitely,
you know?
it's not for the faint-hearted, and that's one thing that was the emotional kind of side of me was knocked out of me whilst I was studying the course. Because I definitely had your mindset, especially I remember my first term of studying law. You know, these are the kind of questions we were posing in lectures, and all our lectures are qualified and practicing solicitors, barristers, or judges. So you know, they could give us their experience, and you know what we were basically told is to put faith into the criminal justice system, or this, you know, because that's why we choose random members of the public to make that decision of guilty or not guilty.
But then going back to what you said earlier though about how there's, you know, a lot of basically Black people in prisons and things like that, we know that we can't trust in the criminal justice system,
right?
Do you know
we know
what
that
I mean?
there's a racial bias, right? We know that, and this is definitely something that needs to be explored further, and people need to be able to feel like they can trust and put faith in the criminal justice system. Obviously I don't run the system, so I can't speak for that, but obviously I'm part of the criminal justice system now.
And you want to be part of the change, because
exactly
there needs to be. No, it's as I say, like it's interesting, and I'm just literally airing my general questions that I literally I genuinely like wonder. I was gonna say, so obviously you have been blind all of your life, and you were studying, you know how it is, babes. People don't know what we are capable of in general, let alone being a blind barrister. Have you faced any, or you know, going to be nearly there, nearly finished your studies, but yeah, have you faced any like discrimination? I remember on the phone you was telling me it was more probably to do with race than your disability, but talk to me a little bit about that. What has it been like studying for you? What has it been like in the courts, being blind? Because I'm sure even people in the criminal justice systems have their, you know, their little prejudice in their heads.
Yeah, no, of course. So if the bar are definitely trying to become more diverse, but if you look at the percentage of Black people at the bar, it is very, very, very low. I don't think we make up 2% of the UK bar. So with that being said, there is a society of blind lawyers, a society of visually impaired lawyers, and they're called SOVL. And I'm part of that society. But
I need to call them.
I'm the only Black blind woman in the society. So I'm the first Black blind woman that to make it to the bar in the UK, and that's quite nice because that's making history, which I never thought I'd ever do. And for that reason, I stand out. Like, other barristers remember me and judges remember me, etc., etc. In terms of discrimination, I feel like, because I'm a minority in race and in disability, and obviously we know that historically and to some extent still today, women are treated less favorably than men. So that almost makes me a triple minority. Women have a glass ceiling that they have to break through to reach the top jobs. And I would say that my glass ceiling has triple glazing, because it's not, it'd be different for a white blind woman. A white blind woman will have a different experience than I would as a Black blind woman. So I feel like before anything, I'm Black, and I'm seen as that minority race. I haven't had any negative experiences to speak of. However, I do find that when I go to prison, my clients love me in the sense that they feel like if I represent them, especially in front of a jury, because juries tend to show more pity. If I represent them, the jury will take pity on me because I'm blind. They'll be like, oh, she's blind and still representing him. And then he will be found, or she will be found not guilty.
So wait, hold up. You're telling me these prisoners, yeah? Wait, hold on. I mean, it makes sense, you know.
It does. It so really
for once,
does.
Our disability is going for us rather than against us.
Yeah, exactly. Or in my case, it's going for the client. But they said, yeah, you know, you can represent me because, oh yeah, it's rare to see a young Black woman at the bar, let alone a young blind Black woman at the bar. So you know, they feel like, and I've been told this by so many people, so many different people I've met in prison, that, you know, they just love me representing them because they feel like they have more of a chance to be let off, or to be given a less harsh sentence.
But do you find that a compliment though? Because when you think about it, essentially, like do you actually think that is a compliment?
Listen,
because then surely that means that's what they think about you. They must pity you in order for them to think that other people's going to pity you. Or am I just chatting shit? I don't know. But in my head, that's what I'm thinking now. I'm like,
I haven't had time to process it, and I don't have time to complain. I'm just there to do my job, get my money cut. So yeah. whether they like it or not, you know, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to.
And it's hard because I feel like we have to face this anyway. So even if it wasn't, you know, in the whatever, the justice system, is in other jobs, everything, everyday life, we have to face people thinking these kind of things about us anyway. So I guess it comes as part of the territory. Exactly. I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to any other blind person that may be listening to this, that's thinking to themselves, I want to be a barrister, you know? I mean, it won't be me, babe, because it won't be me, okay?
It could be.
It would never be me. I have to go to uni. I cannot. It's me. I'm not smart. Jess, I'm not smart, babes. I can't deal with that. Do you know what I mean? I went to uni for 2 weeks.
That's what I was going to say. You made it in. You decided not to carry it through. So that's.
I made it into event management, not law.
Yeah, but you could Oh gosh.
I get too distracted. I'll go into the prisons and just be looking at the good-looking men. I couldn't do it, babe.
Even if you
I'd be
want
like,
to
yes,
be
babe,
like
I'll
a
fight for you.
probation
I'll get
officer.
you out. I'll be like, I'll get you out and then we can get married.
Oh dear.
And then it'll just be a madness, Jess. So I'll leave it to you. But what advice would you give to anyone that is listening that may, is thinking about getting into law, but they might be thinking of, my disability might hold me back, or they might be like, I'm too dumb. What would you say to them?
What I'd say, firstly, if you have a dream, go for it and make sure you achieve it. It's important for you to have the self-validation to know that you can do it and you can achieve. So once you've recognized your dream, you can set steps into motion in order for you to realize your dream. So small steps like, getting the relevant qualification and the relevant experience and speaking to people who can advise you on what to do, where to go, how to do it. So it's important to really know that this is what you want to do, because it is quite long, it is quite pricey, and you really have to be in it to complete it. I have a lot of friends that I started with during undergrad, and they just dropped out, and they're not blind. They just couldn't be asked for one reason or another. They just couldn't see it through. It was either too long-winded, or they decided they wanted a change. And to take the barrister course, that's about 20k, £20,000. So
You not get student loan?
No, not for the bar. You don't get student, because it's seen as a vocational course, and Student Finance England don't pay for that. So unless you're lucky enough to get a scholarship, which I wasn't.
Did you get a scholarship? Because you sounded like you're smiling when you said that. You sound like, I don't know if that was shade. You was like, you're lucky enough to get a scholarship.
You know why I said it like that? Because I remember the day I opened my email and they told me I didn't get the scholarship.
Oh,
it just made me bitter all over again.
Shit. Scholarship. Oh, babe.
Nice. Yeah, so I had to pay it. And so yeah, if you're fortunate enough to get a scholarship, then it's great. If not, then, well, even if you're fortunate enough to get a scholarship, I'm sure the scholarship has like contracts. If you don't complete the course, then you got to pay us back our money or whatever. So it is quite a pricey thing, but don't let that deter you if it's something you really want to do. Don't let your disability or your visual impairment, or if you have any other disability, don't let it defer you either. There is a society of disabled lawyers with all different types of physical, muscular, and mental impairments, and we're still able to make it as solicitors and as barristers and as judges. So it is possible, and it has been done, and you can do it too.
Oh, that's so good. And I was just thinking as you were speaking, I was feeling inspired, but then I was like, no, Joy, you're still thick as shit, so you ain't doing it. But what I was thinking was, if none of us commit crimes, you wouldn't have a job. So I'm going to stay over this side and stay in my lane, so that you have someone to represent. Boom.
Listen, I will commit a crime and I'll pin it on someone else so I can represent them, so I can get paid. No, I'm joking. I won't do that. Off the records. No, I'm joking. I won't do that. But unfortunately, in every society, every types of society, there's some level of crime, and that's why there's a justice system to hopefully minimize the levels of crime and to deter other people from committing the same crimes.
quick sidebar, right? Have you heard of, did I make this up? No, I didn't make this up because my friend told me about this, but is there a disabled prison?
What?
There's a no, I swear, I'm gonna have to Google it, but
in
I'm
the UK.
Yeah, in the UK, there's a prison where people with disabilities go.
Well,
allegedly, I don't know, but allegedly, I've heard it. I need to find out what it's called, but apparently this exists, and I just don't know if you didn't know if you knew about it.
Well, I've certainly haven't heard of a single prison designated just to disabled people. However, there could be certain wings within prisons that are designated to people with certain conditions and disabilities. There are also mental health inpatient wards where if someone that has a mental health condition commits a crime and is found guilty for committing that crime, could be sent to that kind of inpatient mental health hospital to receive the adequate care that they need.
Are there prisons for mothers and babies?
I deal with mainly men. I can't lie, but
of course you do. Of course you do. Of course, you don't care about the women. That's okay. That's fine. But don't worry about us.
There must be. Do you know what? I've never been to a women prison. I actually haven't. I just feel like women are more cold and callous and savage, and they'll just like.
What do you mean? You're just going to the male prison for you want to find man. Don't start that nonsense.
No,
don't stop it. It's not me. It's you. You are that was your choice.
Is my name Valdez? No, listen.
That's your choice, man.
No, it's just more.
There must be though.
Yeah,
there must be. There must be. But I don't. But then I wonder, like, how long can you be in a prison with your baby? Like, surely they take them after a while.
Yeah,
you can't be like a toddler running around.
Sometimes, if a woman's got a baby or is pregnant whilst in court, the judge may consider giving them a suspended sentence, or if it's a crime that doesn't deserve a suspended sentence, they can allow them to have their baby and maybe keep it for a few weeks. I'm not quite sure. I'm not too versed in this area. And then the baby will have to go, and the baby can't grow up in prison. The baby's innocent. So they'd have to go and live with a family member or go into care.
It's so sad, but the moral of the story is, guys, don't commit crimes. That is the moral of the story. But if you do commit a crime, give me an Insta DM and I'll send you Jess's number. That's the moral of the podcast, isn't it, Jess? Isn't it?
Well,
I mean,
because I know you, Joy, you're gonna ask for your cut. You're gonna be like, I need 20%.
If I could you up with clients left, right, and centre, bro, this is advertisement. No, I'm serious. No, but at least I know if I ever get in trouble with the law, I know I'm calling your phone. If you ever see ring, Joy, you better answer, Jess. I don't care what you're doing. You better listen, and then they can feel sorry for the two of us. Oh, she's opening up a blind mate. Oh, look at her, thank you. Oh, but she's innocent. She's innocent.
Listen, remain on the straight and narrow, please. Janelle needs her mum.
Okay. Whatever. Well, when you put it like that. Jess, really quickly as well, I have to remind the people, right? Because and I have to remind you because I know you don't like talking about this. But guys, quite a few years ago, this is before Janelle was born, so this is like over 5, 6, 7 years ago. Jess and I made a little song, didn't we, Jess?
Don't you dare even consider.
I might insert a clip of the song.
Because I will just lock off right now.
Jess, it was a good song. Can I explain?
No.
We was both at this I think I was interning there at the time. RLSB, they're called RSBC now. Shout out to you, bop. And that's how we met, isn't it? Yeah, we met there. And basically, we was doing an event, and I wanted to get Little Mix to perform. Yeah. And so I was like, I knew Jess liked to sing. I was like, Jess, can you sing a song? I'm going to write it. So we, their song, Get Your Back Off the Wall. I think it's called Move, yeah? So I was like, we got the beat for that. And then I wrote lyrics. And then Jess was like, well, I'm not singing it unless you sing it with me. I'm like, but I can't sing. I can't sing. Jess wasn't having it. So I had to sing. Hold on.
What was the whole like...
Do you remember the lyrics? Because I remember some. And it's on YouTube. I'm just saying it's on YouTube. I swear down, it's on YouTube. And I'm going to send you the link after this. And I might insert a clip of the song. If I don't insert a clip, guys, and you want to listen, just send me a DM and I'll send you the link. It's on YouTube. I can't remember what I've called it. But literally, it's got like pictures of me and Jess from... I remember trying to do a music video.
Guys, I was like... 16 at the time or something.
We was like, your talent is sensational. Oh, the lyrics were so... But I am proud of myself, Songwriting and that.
The lyrics are good. It
went like this, look. You should come and perform for us at City Hall, helping us build the independence of visually impaired people. I remember that bit. Do you remember that? Jess remembers, guys. She remembers the way she's acting. I don't remember. Listen, I will remind you. Anyway, don't worry, guys. It was a good song. It's on YouTube. If you want it, let me know. I'll send it to you. And Jess, I'll send it to you just so you can listen to it. Okay?
I'm not gonna listen to it.
You will listen to it. You'll love it. You'll love it. Right, Jess, we are coming to the end. And before you go, I like to give everybody that comes onto my podcast a little tiny gift just to say thanks for giving up your time with me. So I've got you a little present. I'm gonna have to post it to you because COVID and that. But it's just a little Body Shop gift set. You got a body butter in there, a shower gel, and a hand cream because everyone likes smelly stuff. I can't remember what flavour it is. I think it's like, I can't remember, coconut and milk or something like that.
Oh, you know me too well, boy.
Do you like coconut?
Yeah,
but I mean, you're black, you have to like coconut.
What a stereotype.
Come on, everyone likes a bit of cocoa butter. What?
Yeah,
we
true.
do.
Particularly you, Ghanaian, you lot are just smeared in cocoa butter. Anyways,
excuse me. Don't come and cuss the Ghanaians here, okay?
Don't.
Ghanaians, come for her, please. Come for her.
Come to me. I know some tree.
Oh God. Right, Jess,
but thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And
no problem. Jess, do you want to shout out like your Instagram or anything like that, or your Twitter? Do you want people to find you or nah? No face, no case. What are you saying?
Well,
you don't have to. It's fine.
You can find me on Clubhouse at I am Jess. So it's EYE.AM.JESS, and I try to run rooms on I've literally been on it since Monday, but it's been really interesting, and I've been able to like grow my followers really, really quickly. And I'm running rooms just on like anyone who wants, free legal advice, and just chats on, disabled people, blind people in particular, how they operate. Everyone asks me, if you're blind, how do you live by yourself, blah blah blah, how do you do XYZ. So just
how do you go to the toilet?
Them ones.
Jesus Christ, how do you go to the toilet? I don't understand this stupid question. It gets on my nerves so much. Oh, if you're blind, how are you using this app? How are you using
exactly? Yeah.
Are you okay?
You get that quite a lot. Okay? But then at the same time, this is not something that people are educated on, and people are really willing to learn. And
some people are just dumb, though. So not some people are willing to learn, but some people, they just ask stupid questions for the sake of asking stupid questions.
You've been chilling with
boy, no, seriously. And I'm on Clubhouse too, and I've had it all. Like, oh, how are you using this? Someone's also said to me, they say, oh yes, like, you're so clever. How did you send me an email? What do you mean? Are you stupid? What do you mean I'm clever for sending emails? Stop it. Stop it. Just please stop it. But anyways, that's another conversation.
Please do feel free to drop in any time on Clubhouse. And yeah, I've kind of deactivated Twitter because I just got a lot of things to focus on. But I might come back with a new Twitter I'm not sure. But Insta, you can find my Insta on my Clubhouse bio. So yeah.
And anyone that wants legal representation, just holler me. I'll holler Jess. We'll get you out. Okay. You'll be walking the streets in no time, baby. You'll be walking the streets in no time. Okay, guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to follow your dreams and follow me on Instagram at Joy's World the Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at JoyXOXO. Email me if you're a hot guy, joyspodcast@hotmail.com. Jess, thank you again for joining me, guys. Remember to stay happy and live your best life always. Mwah.